back to the channel. So you again together with me, teacher Husna. So today we will focusing on same unit 8, but of course we're gonna learn about writing skills that have been listed in the textbook. So make sure you have the textbook with you, notebook and pen, or because you might want to write down anything that I've said. So maybe you can do the activity together with me. So let's go. So the objective for today's class is, for the first one, is to read the letter and give an advice to the person who wrote the letter. This one, all of them are already stated in the textbook. So they have to read the letter that I have written, and then for the second one is compare the advice given by the peoples and what have been written. So what they have to do for the first objective, they have to come up with an advice without looking at the advice that have been given, and then what they have to next they have to do is compare the two. So like number 1 and number 2 is kind of like related to each other, and then for the number 3, the third objective is write back an advice from the magazine in textbook page 117. So in this third objective, actually I want them to write in the Google Slides so that I could monitor them while they're doing their jobs. So I will show you the Google Slide, and I will give the Google Slide in the description box below. Okay, so we start with the brain buzzer. Do you know what is brain buzzer? So before we start our class, of course we're gonna have something that just gonna like, take their attention, so that they could, like maybe like active their brain before we start our class. So we have this one. What I want to do is actually in the road to the class, I want them to make like 2 pairs, so they can choose their pairs, and then 2 pairs will be chosen. And then what I want you to do, each pair, they have to come up with a problem and a solution. That problem there can be any problem. It can be like you have a problem with your sleeping, you have a problem with your eating, you have a problem with your mental health, maybe you have a problem what like give attention in the class, you have a problem of something else. It can be any problem. And then as I said, this is a pair, so of course in pair we have student A and student B. So what student A have to do is actually give one problem to the partner, and then the student B will come up with a solution. So this is just gonna like, we just like discussion about the problem that they're having right now, and then what the solution that they could do to find to help them to vanish the problem here. Okay, so this is the brain buzzer. So the pair will do their job before we start with the actual class. So this is just like gonna like just gonna fresh up the brains. And then after we have play with the brain buzzer here, for example, I will give you an example. So for example, the student say, I have a problem of sleeping at night. So the student B will come up with a solution, like what can the student A do if they they cannot sleep at night, something like that. So what they could do is like, from my point of view, I think you should keep away from playing your phone. You should close all the lamps and stop thinking about anything else. Just focusing, just relax your mind, just lying on your bed and just chill, maybe drink some water or maybe drink some warm milk. So that is the solution for the problem from like cannot sleep at night. Okay, so that is one of the example that I will give to you. So the students can give a lot of problems, because of course in our life we have a lot of problems here. So why not we just give the problem and then find the solution. Okay, and then of course we're going to start with the activity 1. How should I help you? How? So the direction here is identify the problem and give advice to the person. So as I said, this is on the textbook, page 117. So the first one, okay, question 1. Before I start with the with this activity, of course I'm gonna ask them first. What I'm gonna ask is, do you read advice columns in the magazine? Why and why not? For example, like in the speaking, if you remember the speaking part, we have the agadian. So agadian is actually something that an advice that agadian give if you wrote a problem. So it related to the speaking skills that we have learned, we have made in the previous videos. So this is what we do. So if they have read anything like the column in the magazine about the advice or problems, so they could say yes, and then give their why you read that. Is it because you have the same problem of the person, or you just just for fun to read them? And if not, why not? Is it just I don't like to read an advice, I can give my own advice, and sometimes I don't see them. So that is kind of like just like you read it. So if you want to come up with a solution advice, you must have watched from someone else's advice, so it could help you to like, you can do this, you can do this. And then for the question 2 is, do you think the advice they give is useful? Why and why not? So if they read the advice in the magazine, so do they think that it was useful? So if you think it was useful, and then give why. It's like, I think it is useful. Why? Because I went to the same problem. I went to the same, I want the same advice that could help me to undergo in my life. And then why not? Maybe because it's not related to my problem. I never faced the problem before. I don't know. I do not understand. So that is what the answer that the student might be given in the class. So, okay, of course, we're going to start with activity 1. Read the letter and give an advice to the person who wrote the letter. So, this is the letter. As you can see here, I read for you. Dear Agnes, I need some advice. I've got exams coming up, and for the past few weeks, I've been feeling overwhelmed. I'm worried I'm going to fail. I have so much homework and revision to do every night, as well as my hobbies, such as tennis and volleyball, that I feel like I'm not doing anything as well as I should. My cousin at another school, and during the exam period, she isn't given any homework. It's so unfair. Also, my mom says I should give up my hobbies until after the exam, but I don't want to do this. How can I find time for everything without feeling like I'm not doing my best? Trouble in Bogor. So this is the letter Trouble in Bogor have wrote. So if after my students read this, so I want them to like come up with an advice without looking at the textbook first, and they come up with an advice. Any advice, it can be any advice. So they can. So I want them to actually write this because it will be a Google Meet. I will be using Google Meet. So I want them to like actually write the answer, write the advice in the chat box in the Google Meet, so that they could use the purpose of Google Meet. Not only we open the mic, not only we open the camera, but also we use the chat box here to like share our own opinion. So here, and also in Google Meet, everyone could participate, because if the students using a laptop, so it will be easy. But if the student use the phone, it might be hard for them if they have to use multiple applications. So they can write in the chat box, so that I could know that everyone is participating. So I will take note on every one that have written their advice. And then after they write an advice, it can be any advice. Maybe like, you should listen to your mom, because your mom know the best, something like that. Or maybe like, why not you just make a timetable for you to like focusing on this thing at the time, you have been scheduled the time. So that is the answer that the student could be like give. So and then next one is, it is also in the textbook. So this is actually the advice that have been given and have been written in the textbook. So here I will read for you. Dear Trouble, I understand how you feel. Trying to find time for your homework and hobbies can make you feel anxious and exhausted. Here are some tips to help you deal with the problem. First of all, try to reassure your mother that you can cope, as you obviously don't want to fall out with her. I suggest meeting halfway. How about cutting down on the time spent on your hobbies without stopping them completely? It is also likely that your friends feel the same as you, so I advise meeting after school so you can all help each other. You could go to a different house. different friend house each day and study one subject each time. Being able to study with your friends will help you feel better and more supported. I hope my advice will be of some help. Doing a lot at once can be challenging, but the positive thing is that the more you do, the easier it becomes. In any case, university isn't far away, so this experience now will make life less stressful in the future. Good luck. So as you can see here, they put dear trouble. It's kind of similar to like you writing, how can I say? You writing back a letter to your friends. So dear trouble. So this is the format for you to actually answering if they send you the letter. It can be in the email. It can be in the in the letter like a piece of paper. So it depends. So first, what the writer have written here, the writer have right here is actually first they like try to understand the situation and then they give the first of thing before to like make sure what kind of solution that they could do and then try to find the thing that could help them. So in this we can see here they give like first of all reassure with the mother and then like advice meeting after school, like meeting your friends and try to find someone who feel the same and find the solution that all of you could do. And then after the end, and then the last paragraph you would say, I hope my advice will be some help. It may maybe not all of it, but some of it is also okay. It's also fine. It's also like very good. So also wish something for the trouble, wish something to your friends so that. And then after they read this, so I wanted to compare what solution that they have given in the chat box in the Google Meet now, and then what the solution that the textbook have given. So they like to compare. So maybe there's like some format is not correctly written, but it's okay. So we move on to the activity 2, which is it's time to write. So as you can see here, so activity 2 is focusing on the third objective. So it's time for them to write. So write back an advice from the magazine. What are the advice? What are the problems? So here is the problem. This is in page 117. So I will read it for you. My problem is that since I got a part-time job, I've stopped working out at the gym. As a result, I've gained 10 kilos. Besides, the fact that my clothes don't fit me anymore, I feel very self-conscious. I've always been sensitive about my weight because I take after my dad and I tend to be on the heavy side. While surfing the net, I found a great raw food diet, which includes lots of vegetables and fruit and promises results. But when I told my mom about it, she told me to forget it. She says I need 3 balanced meals a day and refuses to let me cut out meat and carbohydrates. I feel helpless and don't know who to turn to for advice. I really appreciate your help. I'll find from people. So what I want my students to do is actually give an advice. I will show you the Google Slides so that you can participate also in this activity. Okay, so before I let them write, of course, I will give them the format for them to write. So this is the format for them to write. First, the greeting. So you have to put the greeting. Use the person first name or surname. So opening paragraph. So it's like so they can use this. Like I was sorry to hear that you've got problem. I understand what you're going through. I hope the following advice will help you. I've given your problem a lot of thought and I've come up with a solution. Here are some tips to help you deal with the problem. And then for the main paragraph, first and second paragraph, if give your advice and make suggestion. Use phrases like, if I were in your shoes, I, and maybe you should or you shouldn't. I strongly advise you to, how or what about, or one thing you can do is, and then you have to put the closing paragraph, which is make a final comment. Use phrases like I hope everything goes well, good luck, let me help you out, everything turns out, I'm sure your work will work out, there's no need to panic, you get over it, I hope I've been of some help to you. And then you sign it off by, just write your name, or maybe you put your signature, so this. And then there's also the tips that I want my student to focusing. So which the first one is address the person you are writing to in a friendly way and use informal language, and make various suggestions to help solve the problem. Start a new paragraph for every major point. Use appropriate expression to give advice and make suggestions, and use link keywords, phrases to list different points. So this is a tip. So while my students are doing their writing, I will present this to my students so that while they're writing, so they can help by looking at my slides, also doing their activity. But as I mentioned before, there must be a few of the students who could not participate in the Google Slides. I do understand that. So what I want my students to do is actually write in their books or write in their maybe Google Chat, and then they have to take a picture and then send to the Google form. So that's one of the things that they can do after the class if they cannot participate in the meantime. So maybe they can just share by just speaking. Even though I know this is a writing, but also after they speak in the classroom, they have to actually write. So I will show you the good slides just in a moment. Okay, so this is actually the activity 2, the Google Slides. So I will be giving the link in the description box below. So what I want them to do is actually, I will show the example here. So okay, I got 20 pages here, 20 pages actually. So they could write, first they have to write their name here. So I already put the box, so they can write the name. Let me read the name is Teacher Husna. So let me write down to you so that you can see Teacher Husna. So as you know, the problem is about the problem that often had. So for the first one, as I say, you have to put name. So my friend Afan. So dear Afan. And then I put I use the plan that I've showed you before. So I put I was sorry to hear that sorry for the misspelling. So you've got problems. And then what you can do is actually put again here are some tips to help you deal with your problems. And then I put my main part, which is if I were in your shoes, I'll do, for example, I'll do both of the suggestion. One week for each suggestion, and see the result afterwards. Okay, and then I can use I strongly advise you to this. So I can say minimal this in minimal time a week or maybe more. And then and then you say that if it works the best use the suggestion. To improve yourself. And then for the closing paragraph, I will use I hope everything goes well for you. Wishing you all great. And then, as I say, you have to put your signature, and then just put your name here. So, okay, that is what my students should do. They have to use this format. So, while they are doing this, I will show you as the plan and the tips that could see how to write the problem, how to write back the letter. So this is the Google slide. As I said before, as I mentioned before, so I put this in the description box below so that you could join, you could participate. And then so this is for the activity 2. So for lesson recap here, so I want to say good job to everyone who participated in the activity just now. So I hope you enjoy. And so for today's lesson, for what I want to say, like lesson recap here is actually I want my students to actually know how to find the solution for the problem that they have faced, so that they will not feel burdened on it. As you can see, like every lesson that I've recorded, there also like a lot of problem solution here, because this is the main focus, because we want people to like actually find the solution for the problem, not just like be there and then the problem just like get more and then you feel useless. So I want them to actually find the solution so that could help them to overcome the problem that I face. And also I also want them to learn how to reply the letter back, because I know a lot of people know how to like reply message, but we use the application, so we don't have like the actual format of writing back the letter. So I hope this will help the students to know how to write the letter back to their friends, so that they could maybe they can use this in the future, or maybe they want to create it themselves. So I want to say good job for everyone, and that is the lesson for today. And thank you for your participation in class. So I hope you enjoyed for today's class. I think that is all for today. Thank you. See you next time.